Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the SJE073J1. Now this was my first ever video. This watch featured in it. It was my unboxing video, and it has been a very special watch. So this is going to be a long-term review. I've owned it for about 10 months, I believe, and we're going to be taking a fairly quick in-depth look at this watch. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a watch here that is fairly big. It's 40.8 millimeters, I believe, in diameter. I'll be putting the specs up here. So 40.8 millimeter in diameter. It is very thin, around 10 millimeters thin. Let me get a cloth to clean up the side. So around 10 millimeters thin, 9.7 I believe is the exact measurement. Lug to lug is around 47. So it is an interesting look. I'm sure you may or may not have noticed how this watch looks. It's a little wide, and yet it fits on smaller wrists. I think Seiko managed to pull that off pretty well. I have a 6 1/4 inch wrist. By the way, a wristwatch check would be my Snowflake. Also a bigger watch, but I guess if we compare the two, this looks bigger. It's about the measurements are the same. This watch is thicker. The Snowflake much thicker, but when you take a look at it, this watch looks much bigger, and there's a bit of an optical illusion there. We'll talk about that shortly. So we have the usual thing going on here with this Seiko Presage. We have a sapphire crystal, which most of the Presages have. Quite a few have hard Lex, but sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. It's actually, Seiko calls it a super clear coating, and it really is very clear. It still blows my mind every once in a while when I wear this watch and I put it on, how clear this crystal is. It's clearer than the Grand Seiko, which is telling something, because this the Snowflake has a very good application of anti-reflective coating, but this one blows it out of the water. It is that good. Very nicely done. So sapphire crystal, stainless steel, all around 316L. The movement, of course, is different. It's got the 6L35. To this day, I don't think the newer models from Basel World 2019 have come out yet. But there were 2 more watches coming out with this movement, and I don't believe they're out yet. So this watch is still the first to have this 6L35. It's the only watch in the market with it. So it's a rare at the moment. It is a rare movement, and it has been serving me well for the past almost year. I've been getting about +8, and a little fast, but not too bad. Definitely can be regulated. The interesting thing about this watch is that it has a screwed down bezel. It looks like the case back can be screwed out as well, but the watch is front loaded. If you see any of the press material for this watch, it's front loaded. But anyway, going off on a tangent there. So this movement is really something special. You really feel its quality. The date change almost feels like a thud. It is of impeccable quality. It's very precise. You can feel exactly when the date changes if you're switching through the dates. Winding the watch feels excellent. Very smooth, yet very nice feedback. Not unnerving amounts of feedback like the Grand Seiko Snowflake does, but a very nice tactile feel when you're winding the watch. The bracelet is nice. It's a bracelet that's pretty common, bracelet style that's pretty common with Seikos nowadays. Tolerances could be better, I suppose, for this level of watch, the amount of money you're spending. It is all dye shield coated, so that's Seiko's proprietary super hard coating that prevents scratches, and it works. I don't think I have any scratches here on this this piece, despite me wearing it quite often over the past year. So the movement runs at 28,800 beats per second, as you can see. The seconds hand has been thermally blued, and there's a blue text at the bottom. I guess we moved on to the dial now. We got this beautiful frosted dial, which what gives the watch its nickname, the Frosty, or the baby snowflake, even though it really doesn't look like a snowflake. That super clear sapphire crystal really helps that dial pop out. Now, one of the negatives, though, I would have to say, is how big that dial is compared to the rest of the watch. It's a 41mm watch, and that dial is pretty much all of that. It's not a diver, but I think the proportions are a bit better, say on this watch. The dial's a bit smaller, but because of that, it doesn't wear as comfortably. Let's put it on the wrist. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a very, very comfortable watch, but it just could be more comfortable, is what I'm saying. So as you can see, it's just vast. It's enormous. I mentioned it before. The dial is enormous. The watch isn't that big overall. It's very manageable, very comfortable. The thinness is really nice. On a strap, it works even better. So I would, if you do manage to get one of these, I would encourage you to try a good strap as well, just to see how it feels. But overall, it's a great watch. Definitely one of the better Seiko watches on that Seiko ladder going up. I would say this would be one of the ones you get before you move on to a Grand Seiko, which is what I did. That said, though, I guess that might be changing considering Seiko's pricing structure. Late or mid 2019, Seiko's pricing seems to be a little strange, to say the least. So we got the LX model coming out, which is really expensive for what it is. And you don't get the 9R spring drive in it. You get a spring drive movement in the LX model, but you don't get a 9R. You get a 6R. I'd have to look that up, but anyway, another tangent there. But so overall, this watch is a great watch if you can find it. I would suggest you try it out. I did a comparison video between this and the cheapest Grand Seiko you can buy new, at least. The SJE073J1. So that one is the quartz 9F movement watch by Grand Seiko, and I personally would have picked that watch over this one, even though this watch is truly something else when you consider its movement, when you consider its amazing finishing. I forgot to mention all the surfaces are Zaratsu polished, as a Grand Seiko would be, but the luster is not as high if you bring it in with a I would say another steel Grand Seiko. The luster of the steel Grand Seiko is higher. Now, when you compare it to the titanium, I would think the luster on this is only it's either equal or just about the same. But titanium is much harder to finish, so it's this watch on its own is pretty impressive, considering it's titanium, to get that level of finishing out of it. is really amazing. But anyway, this has been a quick look at the the Seiko, not the Grand Seiko, the Seiko SJE073J1, a rare piece. They only made 1881 of them. So if you are in the market for a high-end Seiko, I would highly recommend taking a look at this. A lot of people compare it to the SARA015, but I found that the SARA055 has smaller hands, and overall it wasn't that appealing to me. And the SARX is titanium, so keep that in mind as well. But compare the two if you want something for half the price that has the same look, even that super clear crystal. You should definitely look into the SARA055. But if you want to go all the way, you could go for this. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good day wherever you are, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.